So priest is my favorite class. Priest and paladin. So this is where I'm probably going to be trying to build the most decks, like all kinds of different decks. And I'm probably like, I'm good with every class, I think, but I have the most experience with priest and the least experience with rogue. I'm still good with just everything, but yeah, I like control style decks. So let's just start with this. We got Shadow Reaper Anduin. Man, why do these ones not have the hero powers? Oh, I know what it is. I'll just I would like to bring it up to graphic though. So yeah, we got Battle Cry. It's an 8 mana. Battle Cry, destroy all minions with 5 or more attack. And then you get Void Form, deal 2 damage after you play a card. Refresh this. So yeah, so I think this is the third best Death Knight. Obviously, the best ones are the Paladin and the Warrior, and then this one's really good for a few reasons. One, it's 8 mana, so you can do on turn 10 you can play the hero and get off at least one of these 2 attacks on the same turn, and on that same turn you're also doing 5 or more to everything. So that's another thing, is just if you're just playing this on curve, or even if you play a different menu or something, just it's AoE. You're destroying 5 attack minions, right? So anything that's like a threat that late in the game, or most threats, this is gonna kill when you play it, and you don't have to target them. So even if they have like spell immune or whatever, and then you also gain 5 armor, so you get a little bit of health. And then you get this hero power, which is one of the best ones. It seems like it seems like some of the other ones might seem crazier, but even if you only get this off once a turn, or maybe only like twice a turn, just getting it off once a turn, like we've already seen with like the Shadow Form, just Shadow Form alone, late game is actually a good card. It's just that like paying the 3 mana like in the mid game to get it, or like you either have to find a turn when you have like extra mana to play it, or you play it earlier and lose tempo. That's why that was bad then. But when you can just do 2 damage to anything, it's really powerful. It's like if you could just keep spamming their face if you want to, like Hunter style, but killing the minions, doing 2 damage to them is really impactful. And then of course the real tree is on top of that. Whenever you play a card, you refresh this. So there's a really good chance that every turn after this initial one you play it, you're gonna at least be able to do like 4 damage to any target of your choice, but maybe even more than that. But it's probably gonna be like 2 to 3 shots, because you're gonna have to play like to get it to extra times. You have to play 2 other cards, so you're probably only gonna get, realistically, you're only gonna get like 2 or 3 shots, but probably only 2 shots. But still, like yeah, because that leaves you with 4 mana, so you could play 2 other cards for 6 mana. Yeah, I mean, so you're normally gonna get 2 shots, but that's 4 damage to anything you want, and you could split that damage into 2 different targets. So that in itself is just really powerful. Yeah, and then not to mention too that, so this is a control style card, and with this and then some of the other things that priests are getting, they're going to be one of the better control class. They're already like a good control class, but they're going to be one of the better ones. going on to Archbishop Benedictus. Oh yeah, one thing I didn't mention about this is like the obvious thing that people mention right off the bat is if you build a Kazakus priest, like again another control style priest, then you play Ra. There's a good chance you've drawn Raza and got a chance to play it by the time you play this, or like shortly after. So then this is 0, and then you go from getting on average 2 shots off per turn to getting like, because it's now free, you get like probably like 4. So now you're doing 8 damage to anything of your choice, split up to 4 different ways. That's really strong. That's stronger than the quest warrior hero power, in my opinion, to deal 8 to anything, because usually you're wasting damage with that. And if with this, if you wanted to, like, yeah, it's not like you can't keep doing 4 every turn, because you are gonna like run out of cards to play, but you're gonna draw a card every turn, right? So unless it's a 10 mana card, which you don't have any, you're gonna guaranteed at least probably gonna be doing 4 damage still. Okay. Wait, oops. Alright, Archbishop Benedictus. Battlecry, shuffle a copy of your opponent's deck into your deck. So this is like one of my favorite cards in the set. Not because it's great, because I'd say overall this is like average to below average. It's probably just average, but most people think this is a terrible card. They're probably rating it really high just because they love it. I bet like people, yeah, I mean it's 3.6. I'm surprised people aren't rating it even lower, but I think there's some things people are overlooking about this card with Priest. So like the initial thing on it is like, okay, so it's a 7 mana 4/6. Shuffle a copy of your opponent's deck into your deck. So for the stats, 7 mana 4/6 is bad, right? So people are shitting on it because of that. Oh, yeah, it's got a really bad body, and then on top of that, guess what it does? Oh, it makes your deck, instead of having the deck you built, you replaced it with another deck, so you're not even drawing the cards you want. You're making your deck worse. It's like, no, it's not exactly like that. If you had like a Death Rattle priest deck, no, you wouldn't want to put this in there. If you had a Resurrect deck, you probably wouldn't want to put this in there. There's a lot of like specific decks, like, oh yeah, you don't want to put this in your dragon deck. You're like, that's what the people think, like, oh yeah, you like make your deck worse. Well, if you in a Kazakus deck, yeah, then all your Kazakus cards don't work. But you could actually still put this in a Kazakus deck, because you could just wait till after you've already played Kazakus and Raza, and then you can still play it, or one or the other depending on your matchup. But other than that, it's getting a copy of your opponent's deck can be a really good thing. Like that, there's a chance that, yeah, what if, so you copy you have more of a control oriented priest deck, right? And you have this in there, and then maybe you so you're playing against, depending on the deck you're playing against, maybe their deck in the mirror would be better than your current priest deck. Or like maybe you copying a control paladin's deck would be really good. Even if you don't use that, you could either like use the paladin hero initially, because its initial impact is the best part of it, probably. And then you can just save the Shadow Reaper Anduin and then switch over whenever you want, or you could, yeah, and then you're going to be getting a ton of different control paladin cards, which are really good in the control matchup. You can so that, yeah, that's one thing, is like in other control matchups, other control cards are really good. So copying a control deck is really good. Yeah, if it's an aggro deck, you don't want to be copying that deck in any situation. Like talking about synergy or like surviving, like you don't want to be copying the aggro deck. So yeah, this is terrible against aggro cards. But yeah, so that's one situation. It's terrible. And but another thing people are forgetting about is that when you have a set of one cards in one class, I mean the classes are broken in they're broken in different things for reasons. One, it's not just like their individual identity, but like there's certain cards in other classes that if they mesh together, then they're like potentially game breaking. And so if you have a full set of priest cards, and then you have that full deck, well, I mean, obviously they've already spent some and drawn some, so you might not get every like piece you need, but in general, you're probably going to get, like, by turn 7, what they've drawn / played like a little over 10 cards, so you're probably going to get like around 18 cards on average if you played that on curve. Like later in the game, you're still going to get like 15, so you get like half or most of their deck. So you're going to get these opportunities to have deck synergies that have like really broken potential combos. And yeah, you're going to have, for the same reason, when you're like looking to top deck or draw into certain things that you wanted just out of your priest deck, then yeah, the random card you might draw might not synergize at first, but by the time you like start drawing more cards, you're going to be drawing that deck synergies with itself, and then also you're probably going to have some synergies with the two decks that no one ever thought of, and things that might be like extremely broken. So like this card actually has the opportunity to be very broken, and then there's one other good thing that people are not like thinking about it is in those control matchups, a lot of times you're just going to be going back and forth removing a lot, and a lot of times in previous control things, like when it went to fatigue, like it didn't really go to fatigue. Like it's not the fatigue damage that killed you, it was the running out of minions and the running out of removal that kills you. And then it's just that you're getting to the point of, it's a fatigue game because you're getting to the where you're drawing fatigue damage, but it's really because one of you runs out of minions and removal first, and then so the other person wins. And with this card, you will not be running out of you won't be running out of minions or removal before them, because you're going to be getting a whole copy of their stuff. And then so it can even beat Jade Druid in that sense, because you could get all their Jade stuff, and in this deck you're probably going to want to, you know, just because you're building it as the ultimate and all like control fatigue deck, you run the neutral minion, this is Skulkengeist, that kills the 1-cost spells, and then at that point you have a control priest deck, which is just good in control match anyway, and then on top of that you have all the Jade stuff. So all you have to do is run them out of their biggest Jades is your only problem. And like, so if they don't get those biggest Jades extremely quick, and even then you like priest can find ways to deal with that stuff. Because I've like with control priest in the current expansion with the Jade idols, like sometimes I just keep removing the massive Jades, and I've like find a way to finish off damage, and priest now has more finishing ability, like with especially with the Anduin. So yeah, like one of the most underrated cards in the set, for all those reasons I just said. Yeah, it's, you don't want this against aggro. You'll never play it against aggro. it's a dead card against aggro, and even in a lot of mid range and control, like mid range, it's not that good against. But the mid range cards you take are you know, those are cards that are good against mid range, so those are okay. And again, against control, I think it's a good card against control decks. Yeah, you know, I like this card. One of the funnest cards. One of the most underrated cards. All right, Obsidian Statue. Taunt, Lifesteal, Death Rattle, destroy random enemy minion. I've got like mixed feelings on this one. It is really expensive for a 4-attack minion. I mean, it's only one more than the. It has like similar value and stats to the Primordial Drake, so it's probably good. So like it's basically okay. So you look at the Drake, it's one more than the Drake for the same attack and health. It also has taunt, but for the extra health, it's basically for the extra health you get lifesteal because the death rattle is destroy random minion. So the Drake gets a 2 damage AoE to everything, which is or probably a little better than destroy random, or it is better than destroy random enemy minion because they can play around it because it's a death rattle. But it also good for that, so you can look at that as like just that so far. If it was 8, then it is slightly worse than the Drake, right? Or it's just a little bit, it's worse, but not like by a ton. And then, but then you also are adding 1 more mana, and then you're adding lifesteal essentially. So it's like the combination of these two is close to equal to the Drake. It doesn't have the dragon tag, which is also a good thing about the Drake. But a 4/8 taunt with lifesteal is really good because if you just think that how many times like they drop the Drake down and you have to trade like 3 minions usually, or like hit 2-3 times into it, so you're gonna get like 8 to 12. You're probably gonna get like at least 8 healing if they don't spell kill it. And if they're spell killing it to keep their minion alive, then like that's not a great play because you're stealing the random minion. So I don't know, yeah, I guess it's pretty good. It would be significantly better at 8 just because you could hero power or play a small, like one of these or something, you know. My roommate's watching Game of Thrones, if anyone's wondering why there's yelling and fighting. King of the North. Okay, Embrace the Darkness. 6 mana. Choose an enemy minion. At the end of your turn, gain control of it. So most of the time this isn't that good. Most of it. It's okay. I think it's underrated, but most of the time what's going to happen is they play a minion that's a threat, you put this on it, and then so they know that minion's going to get stolen, so they either like just straight up trade it away and let it get killed while trading into your minion and damage it or killing it. And then at the end of the turn, if you either get nothing because they traded it away, or you get it but it's injured, and so it's basically like mind control damage, like mind control, damage the minion you mind controlled, and damage one of your minions. And that's why it's not that great, but it's a buff to Lyra, because that's a really good extra spell. Like it's not like something you want to include probably. It may be a one of in some decks. You put a one of this in a Kazaka's Priest for sure, and then you can get use out of it. But that's the thing, is like get it out of Lyra, and then that's an extra spell where you just essentially removing an enemy minion at the cost of damaging your own minion, so basically. Okay, Shadow Essence. Summon a 5/5 copy of a random minion in your deck. So there's like spell barns, except for now the minion you get isn't like a shitty body that's gonna guarantee die. Now the body has a good chance of surviving, and then the penalty is that it's 2 turns later and it's 2 turns later and you don't get a body out of it. So like it's almost like you're trading. It's kind of just like worse than Barnes, because I don't know, it's hard to say. Stat wise it's worse than Barnes because you're trading Barnes' body to add it to a copy of a minion. Basically you're adding his stats to the copy, because that would be like, if it was like, instead of a 1/1, it would be a 4/5. So you're getting one more stat than that, and so like you're paying 2 more to do that. And then the upside is it actually might survive. So like if you did some gimmicky like Malagos deck, you could it might live and you might get to go off, or Yusarj might pull 2 minions instead of 1. It has potential. I'm just gonna put. I'd say it's just average. And actually, I'd say I would say below average, but if you put it in Death Rattle Priest, 1 that counts for your quest, and then like a 5/5 version of the Death Rattle minion. Especially if you did like an egg version, you get a 5/5 egg, and then when it dies, you get another 5/5. And maybe you can like Eternal Servitude it after. Okay, Devour Mind. Copy 3 cards in your opponent's deck. Item in your hand, so it's just a bigger, more expensive Thought Steal, and Thought Steal is already at the current point it's too slow. Maybe this meta seems like it's going to slow things down though, so then this will be too slow, but then Thought Steal I think will actually be playable again, but this is just a little too slow. Again, it's like a buff to Lyra, because that's it. All 3 of these cards are good to get off Lyra, because a lot of the spells you get off Lyra are like, they're cheap, so they give you another spell, but you like just spend them right away and do nothing with them just so you can get a better spell. So these are all 4 of these really, and then this one too. It's this one's not that great, but it's cheap, so you can get one of these other ones or a good spell. Eternal Servitude though, this one's really good. Definitely one of my favorite arts too. This set just looks really cool. Discovery friendly minion that died this game, summon it. So it's the same as like Resurrect was the spell that did the same thing. Oh no, it didn't do the same thing. It didn't discover, but it resurrected a minion and summoned it, but it was 2 less. But that was just a random one, and so this costs 2 more discover, which is definitely worth it. Like, especially if you're getting this later in the game, And uh, again, I like to point out I've seen some people misreviewing this, in that people are like, oh, well, you can still get like the taunted frog and the cleric and like the shitty, like the other shitty minion or something, but because it's Discover, like people seem to forget about it. The thing with Discover is it won't give you two of the same like, so if like a minion died twice, like if you had like two Talon Priests, and you don't really want those back. Not, I mean, they're okay, but you don't want to, you want to hit something good with this, like, but it's not, you don't get a two Talon Priests as an option ever. That's not possible. You can only have one of each as an option in the Discover, so it's basically guaranteed that you're going to get a good Resurrect choice. Yeah, so yeah. You later in the game, you could resurrect this obsidian statue. Would be pretty crazy. A 4 mana obsidian. See, that in itself makes obsidian statue better. Like, makes me want to actually bump up my like rating of obsidian statue, because yeah, like people will be like, oh yeah, well you got to 9, and then oh, that's so late. Like, you're gonna get to 9 and you're gonna play this. It's like, well, yeah, with all the new lifesteal stuff and anti-aggro cards, and yeah, like, yeah, I probably can get to 9 with this lifesteal card. That'll give me extra health, and then play this again, and then get this 9 mana obsidian statue for 4. And then, oh yeah, if I'm going like full death rattle, I got in the Zoth, so that died, and it died twice, so I'm getting like 2 of these or more. Like, even if you get like play 2 of these, you get 1 of them back with Eternal Servitude. There's a chance you could get 3 of these with N'Zoth. Most likely you'll just get 2, but yeah, you get 2 of these back with N'Zoth. Like, how much more are you living? How many more attacks are going into that 4 life steal with an 8 body? Yeah, I think with these 2 cards, and then like just a lot of the neutral death rattles, like and this card, because you can put this in the Quest Priest. I'm pretty sure Quest Priest will now be a thing, and it'll be like a tier 2 deck, I think. I'm gonna have to build it and see for sure. I'm not, but I'm like 70% sure, 75% that Death Rattle Priest will be a tier 2 deck. And if other people can't make it a thing, yeah, look at my list, and then when I'm playing it, I'll make it a thing, I'm telling you. So we got Acolyte of Agony, 3 mana, 3/3 lifesteal. I actually don't think this is good, because at that stage in the game, you want like something with like the 3/4 body, like the Talon Priest, or you want something that buffs something else, and you're like more so want to fight for a board at that stage of the game at 3, and you might not even have 3 damage dealt to you. You might not be hurt all that much, if any. So like getting your life back won't be that good then. Of course, it'll be good, okay, later, but a 3/3 body isn't good late either. If you buffed this, it would be good, but it's gonna die before it gets buffed. And if there's better things to buff, honestly, like buffing like something with already has a bigger body, or like more dangerous. And I just don't think this is that good. Spirit Lash, Lifesteal, 2 mana, Lifesteal, do 1 damage to all minions. So It's 2 mana whirlwind, but it also heals you for potentially a lot of health. So again, like in these decks where it's like, oh, you're gonna like live past turn 9 to let this die and resummon it. Yeah, like if I have these, like that can stall. Like the problem is just 1 damage isn't that much. You could add a spell damage card, like that new 2/3 that gives something else spell damage. That could be good in Priest with this. That's pretty good. And then it's a 2 damage. Like the 1 damage AoE for 2 isn't that bad because Revenge with Warrior saw a lot of play, and it wasn't like the end of the world when you had to play Revenge as a 2 mana whirlwind, and that's all it did too. It didn't heal you, so this is fine. This is playable. But will it make the cut over other cards? I'm not sure. Shadow Ascendant, 2 mana, 2/2. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +1/+1. So it's kind of like a 2 mana 3/3, which is just really good. But that's only if you have another minion. And again, the priests don't have that many early minions anyway, so there's like a really high chance that it's going to be turn 2 and you can play this, but it's like you will be playing it on an empty board, so you won't buff anything, and then they might even just a 2/3 on the other side is going to kill this, and then like so you could play it on an empty board, and then if their board's empty, then it's fine to play an empty board, because then on the next turn you can play a minion and it'll buff that minion, and then that would be like a really good scenario. It has potential. I'm saying it's like average. I'm just saying it's average to above. Maybe it's a little above average actually, but yeah, nothing too great. So yeah, what is Priest looking like? Like I said, I think Death Rattle Priest will be tier 2. You'll have like this in there. You'll go a little less all in on the Death Rattle and then more on survivability. You could even maybe throw that in there. That would be crazy mixed in with the long term. I don't know. Yeah, I think like I said, just doing a straight up control priest. You can throw this in out long game any other control deck. Those decks won't be good against aggro though. Kazakus Priest will be. I think Kazakus Priest will also be like tier 2 or maybe even. Yeah, I guess it didn't get. Yeah, it'll probably be like tier 2. They gain stuff, but they also other classes gain stuff too. So I don't think it'll be tier 1. There is potential for Priest to have tier 1 decks, like some kind of control Priest, or maybe even the Death Rattle Priest could be even better than I'm thinking. But this Death Knight, like I said, I think it's the 3rd best one. The Rogue one has the potential to be like kind of broken, just like the Quest was, where it's like it doesn't look that great at first, but you can do game breaking things with it. So that one could end up being like even the best Knight, but I think it's below for sure the Warrior and Paladin ones, I'm thinking, and it could be better than this the Priest one though. But I think it's like Paladin, Warrior, and then Priest, or Warrior, Paladin, and then Priest for the Death Knights, or in their class specifically, not just what they do. Because like the Hunter Death Knight is actually really good, just not in Hunter. And then yeah, I'm looking forward to building a lot of decks with Priest. They have like some of the most. I think like Mage has the most good decks, and then but Priest probably has like the most decks that you can build. Like Okay. Whoopsies. Damn it. Okay. This list is actually not a little better. Okay. So we got Valera the Hollow. Gain stealth until your next turn. Nine mana. 5 shield, so you get the 5 armor. That's standard. Passive hero power during your turn. Add a shadow reflection to your hand. Shadow reflection. Each time you play a card, transform this into a copy of it. So yeah, I mean, this has a potential to be game-breaking kind of thing. Doing things like, well, for instance, there's you can get like a ton of cold bloods. So I gotta make sure that I'm not like thinking of it the wrong way. Because let's say, okay, say you have, okay, for one thing, one good thing about this is that you get, the hero gets stealth, which is cool, so you can't be targeted by physical attacks or spells, like, or direct spells, only like indirect damage. So it's basically like similar to Ice Block, but except it lasts the turn you play it, and only. Instead of going off when you have 1 health, it prevents initial damage, which can be better in some ways because you gives you a chance to clear the board before the big board that dealt the bulk of the damage deals it. But during your turn, so I mean basically you get 1 of these a turn, right? And then when you play a card, that changes into it. But I'm pretty sure, like, if you have this, right, and you played, like, 3 cards, it would transform into 1, then the other, and then the other. And then, actually, wait a minute. This one has a video, I think. Oh, see, this one has all 3. Clarifications. You can never have more than 1 shadow reflection at the same time in your hand. Okay, so you can't. That prevents some things because you can't just like hold them and then wait till you get like cold blood and instantly have like 4 cold bloods just by playing like 1. When you use shadow reflection for that turn, you will get another one your next turn. So if you don't use it, you won't get it. So it can just be sitting in your hand doing nothing. So the most you could do for like a spell is a triplicate, because you could have 2 already, and then you could wait, and then so you could do say 3 cold bloods or 3 sinister strikes. Shadow reflection and transform. Copy if it leaves your hand the same turn. Shadow reflection and the transformed copy of it leaves your hand. Let me put this on the. So I mean, this is a high skill card for one thing. Let's get that out of the way. It's usually rogue decks are. Shadow. Oh yeah. So this shadow reflection and the transformed copy of it leaves your hand at the end of your turn. So it only works on 5 mana cards. Or like, wait a minute. So this doesn't turn into the. So the cold blood, for example, this wouldn't turn into the cold blood. It just makes a copy of it. No wait, transform a copy of it. Wait, so it leaves your hand at the end of your turn. So it only works 5 mana cards or less. Shadow reflection and the transform copy of it. Wait, that doesn't make sense. I'm pretty sure the wording here is wrong. I'm pretty sure what it means is like if you play this, like you have like a cold blood already, you can play this and it turns into cold blood. Oh no, I see what it's saying. It would be like if you decided not to play that cold, like you played the one, so this was it turns into cold blood. If you're like, no, you know, like that's not the card I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for like Shadow Strike for the spell damage or something. Then that means what it transformed into is gone, and then you also don't even have a Shadow Reflection in your hand. So like something like Mind Visions can't copy of it. And then at the beginning of the next turn, you just get a new one. Yeah, so you can only do it on 5 mana cards or less, because. Okay. We'll keep changing on the last card you played. We'll keep changing depending on Shifters there is multi. You play preparation, eviscerate, shadow reflection, will change to. Yeah, so okay, yeah, that's what I originally said. I'm just. If you play 3 cards, it'll be the last one you played. So you gotta think of play order too. Effects that invoke mana cost reduction will not be copied by Shadow Reflection. Oh, so yeah, okay, yeah. So if you like Shadow Stepped an SI7 agent, and then you played the SI7 agent, you wouldn't get a 1 it wouldn't be 1 mana, it's 3 mana. Arcane Giant works because its mana cost is reduced. Okay, yeah. Most else works. So yeah, it's a little less broken than I thought, potential, but I feel like there's gotta be a way, right? There's probably some way to like OTK people with this card. I'm not thinking of. Hero Bar is great is because it's free. There's one where I wish there were some people in the chat right now. Where is everyone today? All my regulars are gone. Where are you guys at? Need a second brain. Edit, this card is trash. But basically it's like, at worst, it's like, what was the dragon in the 6/8 dragon or whatever? That every time you draw a card, you get a copy. That dragon was really popular when it stuck. I mean, really powerful when it stuck, and that's basically what this hero is. It's the same as that dragon that copies, except it's your hero. So it's like a permanent ability, so you can't it can't be removed. So. It has to be powerful, right? It's gotta be powerful. Yeah, I can't accurately rate it. I think it's good, but not. Yeah, I put it below Warrior, Priest, and Paladin, Death Knights. But could be above. Who knows? Lillian Voss. Maybe if these ones are a little bigger here. Lillian Voss. 4 mana, 5/4. Good stats. Battlecry, replace spells in your hand with random spells from your own class. Or from your opponent's class. People are really hating on this card, right? $2.6. I'd give it a 3. Most people are like, oh, you're getting rid of all the good spells you purposely put in your deck. Well, again, that's like the way people are reviewing these cards is like so incorrect, I think. It's like, well, yeah, if you build a deck with good spells that you wanted, you wouldn't play this because it would replace them. That's not where you'd play this card in. You play this card in some type of tempo rogue. And is there a tempo rogue viable with the new cards and the current cards? Maybe not. Maybe there. Maybe not. Maybe there's this new weapon rogue that it'll work in the weapon rogue. And you would just wait to play it till after you play like something like this. We don't know yet for sure, but yeah, you don't play it in the other deck. It's not trash because you can't play it in Miracle Rogue. Yeah, you don't play it in Miracle Rogue, duh. Like that's not what makes it bad or good. Like that's not the reason why that's not why it was created. That's not like the thinking behind it. The thinking is like you get a bunch of coins off of Burgo Bully, counterfeit coin, maybe hallucination, like you hallucinate something and you decide, oh well, that's not what I wanted, so you get a second chance at whatever you hallucinated. Yeah, and you play it in that kind of deck. You play it with a deck that doesn't have a lot of your good spells, or maybe it does have some of the good spells in. It's like, well, I've got Backstab here, but it's turn 8, and Backstab's not really helping me. I got like Backstab, a random spell I got from them, and like a coin from Burgo Bully. Like, do you want to you don't want to hold on to your Backstab for that. You'd rather have a random spell from your opponent's class than a Backstab on turn 8. So I think this has actually potential. I think this is underrated because people are looking at it completely the wrong way. They're really stuck in what rogue decks are good now, like Quest Rogue and Miracle Rogue. Well, Quest Rogue is not even might not be that good anymore. So oh yeah, that Valyria buffs Quest Rogue too, I think, but you probably want to be killing your opponent before turn 9 anyway. So maybe it's not. Yeah, that's just like a dead card then. Maybe I wonder if there's like. Actually, what if there's a way to just build like a slower control Quest Rogue, and you're really not trying to get your quest until you done until like the late game as like a finisher instead of like just trying to like rush people down with it. Okay, Doomerang, one mana. Throw your weapon at a minion. If it deals its damage, then it returns to your hand. No, not if it deals damage and then it returns to your hand. Yeah, this card's really cool. So wait, the confusion I have about it is like I'd say this card, like if you attack once and if it was a 3/1, do you get? Oh, wait, it returns it to your hand. It doesn't re-equip it, right? So yeah, you would definitely get the original weapon back. But does it burn that last charge? Like if you had a 3/2 and didn't play it, does it burn both charges and then you don't have it in your hand? And then, I mean, it breaks the weapon and then does the damage, returns it to your hand, or does it take? Oh, yeah. Let's see if this says Hearthstone's better at adding stuff like that. Oh, I guess they don't have any clarification. Oops, that's the wrong one. So poison and lifesteal work with it, but the Death Knight one probably doesn't. What's the wording? Throw your weapon at enemy. If it deals its damage, returned. No, the hero power doesn't. No matter what, even on the low side, this is a good card. Yeah, it's a good card, especially with some of these new stuff added. Like, I mean, you can attack in. The way it seems like it works is it takes away durability, or all of the durabilities. You're breaking your weapon and throwing it, but you're getting your weapon back. So you, not only is this dealing your weapon damage without taking face damage, well, I'm not even on any weapon, you're also getting a copy of your weapon back. So this is just a really good card. Spectral Pillager. This is like one of the other cards that. This is just a really bad. So 6 mana 5/5 combo. Deal damage equal to the number of other cards you've played this turn. You know what? It's not really bad. Yeah, I mean you're because it's 6 mana. You probably aren't going to be able to play that many cards. Even if you got 10 mana, you probably play at most 3 cards. So then it's like a not as good Flame Elemental. And you're probably going to be playing this in more of a tempo style deck, not miracle or anything. So you're going to have less of the cheap spells. So you might only get 2 damage too. So yeah, it's not that good. And it's a little slow for a tempo card too. I don't know, I guess. Yeah, no, maybe it's not trash, but it's not that good. Rogue in general in all these expansions get cards for them. They get a lot of like subpar cards because their normal classic cards that they have are like some of the, if not the strongest cards. Like them and Mage probably like they have the strongest like basic cards, so it forces them to come out with less powerful like cards and expansions. So like people that are like Rogue fans are always like disappointed when expansions are released. It's a good thing I hate Rogue. I'm never disappointed. Full of Bones, 2 mana, draw a card. If it has Death Rattle, cast this again. Death Rattle Hunter, a Rogue lost a lot of cards in the previous rotation. It's probably not good. If a Death Rattle Rogue is semi-playable, it's good though because drawing a card effect is basically 2 mana anyway, and so you can just use it as like a deck thinning thing. But if there is some good Death Rattles, then that's good. Not good though, I don't think. Runeforge Haunter. During your turn, your weapon doesn't lose durability. So, at least 4 mana, 5/3 body. So bad stats for the body. It's gonna die right away. So you're only gonna get to use it once. This would be better in Warrior, I think. It'd be pretty good in Pirate Warrior. Yeah, this Weapon Hunter thing, or Weapon Rogue thing, I don't know. Or it's like kind of meant to be maybe like a new part of a Tempo Rogue. But this is this is not good in there. Yeah, I think it's below average, this card. Not very good. Shadowblade, your hero is immune this turn. This is a good card. So like you just don't take damage when you attack, and it's a 3/2. It does 3 damage. Yeah, just good at trading. But yeah, again, like people pointed out, Rogue has a lot of good 3-ups. They got SS7 Agent. They got like, you might even want to put this in there. If you are playing a Tempo Rogue, you probably have a Tar Creeper. So yeah, it's good but not amazing, just because of like the spot it takes up. Plague Scientist, 3 mana, 2/3 combo, give a friendly minion poisonous. I think this one's actually very good. Again, a Tempo Rogue. Yeah, all these cards they're putting out are all like, they're all for a new archetype. They're not for a Miracle Rogue, and that's why like a lot of people are. I think people are underrating all of them. Even like, yeah, these ones are bad. People are even more underrated because they're like, oh, you can't play it in Miracle Rogue. You can't play it in Quest Rogue. It's a bad card. Remember, the Tempo Rogue was a thing at one point, and that was a good deck. It can be again too. I don't know if there's enough this expansion. It seems like since they're pushing it, maybe the next expansion. Maybe this one, I don't know. I suspect that there's not enough this one to make it a thing. Man, I wonder if like you put this and weapons and you just keep throwing them back in copies, you basically get 4 of these. Or 3. Yeah, this is a good tempo tool. Death, yeah, I think it's a good card. Good, not amazing. Baron, Bone Baron, 5 mana 5/5, death rattle, add 2 1/1 skeletons to your hand. There must be something I'm missing here because I'm not seeing where this would be good. Or, well, you can. This is a buff too, like the death rattle discover minion, or I mean get a death rattle get a random death rattle minion. So is Cinder Ghost. I remember what Cinder Ghost is now. Death rattle. Never mind thinking. Okay. So, not very good to have in your deck, but again, this is where like I'm not gonna shit on this card. This just seems like it wasn't put in to manually include. It was put in as a random effect, and also in Arena. It's okay in Arena. That's pretty good in Arena. Yeah, you could use the 1/1 skeletons to proc combos too. That's like, I guess it's upside. It's just not good enough. And finally, 2 mana. Leeching Poison, give your weapon lifesteal. So you do that in this, and instead of you don't only take damage, you're just gaining life. But Rogue, even with this, Rogue doesn't have enough other lifesteal stuff. I guess you could use the neutral lifesteal minions. I don't know. I don't think it's enough though. It's something that they're gonna have to continue. One more expansion worth of Tempo Rogue and Lifesteal Rogue card and stuff like that. And I think Rogue will be there. I think Rogue could be like solid tier 2, tier 1 Tempo Rogue deck with one more expansion's worth of stuff. But yeah, right now I don't think it's enough. And Miracle Rogue didn't get anything new. Maybe you could put that in there. This actually, you know what? This is like you put this in Miracle Rogue, this hero, and it's good. So they got that. So Miracle Rogue got buffed a little bit. Tempo Rogue got a lot of stuff, but they went from nothing to maybe something. Quest Rogue, did they get anything? No. Alright, Shaman. Thrall Deathseer. Battlecry, transform your minions into random ones that cost 2 more. It only costs 5 too. This is the cheapest one. That's a pretty good battlecry, and you get 5 armor. Like that might be worth playing just in itself, just as like a card. And even if you're not going for this hero power of transmute spirit, 2 mana, transform a friendly minion into one that costs more. So it's like a Master of Evolution for 2, no body, of course. And that's a good hero power too. I think it's really good. When you definitely, I mean, you just put this in the already existing evolved shaman. Double gangster, evolve. Play this on the next turn, evolve. You know, you can get, if you do this and double gangster and this on turn 10, you're probably going to want this before turn 10, especially like just transforming things that cost it 2 more constantly, like minions and stuff. Like, that's really, really good. It's not like because there's so many like new minions that are bad. Like bad to just have on the board, not necessarily like with their battle cry, maybe they're good or okay, but with just being on the board out of nowhere, things that get evolved and devolved into could be really bad. So I don't think you're gonna have a lot of setbacks. I think it's gonna be like there's gonna be a lot of raging with this card, like people playing with and against it, like complaining about which minions they're getting out of the evolves and stuff. Murabi. Whenever another minion is frozen, add a copy of it to your hand. And then they got a lot of, so it's a 6 mana 4/4 though, which is really bad. So it will die after the turn it's played, unless you're playing it way later and comboing it with other stuff. Like this avalanche, you can turn 10, you can freeze a minion, get a copy of that one, and then kill potentially 2 other ones. Cryostasis, you could combo that on turn 8, copy your own guy and buff it and get a, yeah. You can use this on other guys and use Icebreaker. There's a lot of potential here for this free shaman. The one thing, overall, it's probably not very good. Yeah, but the thing I like about it is that it conflicts freeze mage, just most of the mages in general. It just like, just this thing, and Icebreaker. Because like you can, if they freeze you, and I guess they can just remove this and then freeze you. But if they have like water elementals down, then you can like play this, then trade guys in. What I want to know though is if a minion, because like when you trade a minion that gets killed by, for like say like you threw a 1/1 into a water elemental, I believe it gets frozen before it dies, or does it? If it dies, it probably doesn't count. I'm guessing maybe. Yeah, it's probably a little the freeze shaman thing probably isn't there. Even though they got this Burlock, 2 mana 2/2 Murloc Battlecry freeze an enemy. I mean, you could combo that with it. That's probably better than this, because it gives you the body and it doesn't. If you do it on it, it's on an enemy. You get a copy of them. Taunt, freeze, and any character damage by this minion. Same stats as like the armor. The armor minion of warrior. Probably not good enough. So we got, yeah, cryostasis. If you put this on a taunt minion, on your own taunt minion, it's really good. You get really desperate and put on. It's not good to put on their minions unless you're comboing it with this, and even then, it's not amazing. So I'm gonna say this is mostly not good. Snow Fury Giant. Costs 1 less mana for each crystal you overloaded in the game. 11 mana, 8/8. So one thing that pops out is this affects your evolve and devolve stuff. And now you can actually devolve a 12 mana minion, and there's a lot of those because this is the first 11 mana minion. And then you can evolve a 10 mana minion now. And so you could heal it up to an 8/8. It's really hard to figure out like how much reduction. Like I tried to figure out the other night when I reeled this, how much reduction you get on average. I know in like the current shaman decks, there's not a lot of overload, so you're only getting like a few, so it's not in there. You'd have to go back to like a heavier overload shaman, and then you'd be getting it for pretty cheap. You on average like somewhere from 4 to 6. Because if you want, you'd go for like a big minion shaman deck, you could put the 2 4-mana 7/7s. That alone, like just one of those, puts it down to 9. And you probably have like maybe some wolves, shield wolves. Put it down to 7. And then you could play it on the next turn for 7 mana 8/8. I don't know, it's not. It could eventually be 0 cost, or it's gonna get pretty cheap. Most of the time, it's not gonna be 0 though. It won't be as reduced as much as Arcane Giant. I don't know. There could be a potential to, like, if you built your deck around this, you could just do heavy overload and get these out real quick. But that might not be enough. And then, like, yeah. Icebreaker, 3 mana, 1/3, destroy for the main damage with this. I mean, you're only going to put this in. You're only going to put this in the Ice Shaman, and because other than that, it's obviously terrible. And Ice Shaman just doesn't seem good enough. Voodoo Hexer, same thing. This is actually pretty. This one actually, you could put in any non-aggro deck, I think, because it's got high health and it freezes. That's actually better than the gain armor effect for the warrior one, in most cases. Unless you like, obviously, if you have multiple armor guys and you have synergy with that, then that's better. But other than that, this is actually a lot better. Really slows down your opponent. So yeah, this one's good. Good card. Avalanche, freeze a minion, and deal 3 damage to adjacent ones. Actually, this is a good card too. This can go in pretty much anything. Like 3 damage to 2 different minions is powerful. If they only have 2 minions though, you're only damaging 3 to one of them. And you're freezing it. Even that's still pretty good though. Freezing one and doing 3 damage to another minion. Yeah, this card's good too. Burlock, it's just better than the ice elemental. Wait, that's one mana, right? Oh yeah. The ice freezer elemental is only one. It's got one less health, so you're paying an extra mana for one extra health, which isn't worth it. So you'd rather have, unless you're doing a Murloc deck, you'd rather have the ice elemental. So I'd say it's still a good effect. Like, this is like really good in arena. It's average, a little below average. Doraki Defender, 3 mana, 2/8, Taunt Overload for 3. So this is one of the anti-aggro cards they've added. So it's good against aggro. Bad against mid-range decks because you lose so much. Like on turn 4, you only have 1 mana, so you can't do anything. And against control, it's not great, but they're probably not doing much around those turns either. But it's probably not good against them. So yeah, mostly way better in an aggro meta. I feel like the overload's probably like 1 too much. So I'd say this is just overall average, but really good against aggro. So that it's kind of a hard card to rate when it's like it's like a meta card. Ice fishing, draw 2 Murlocs from your deck. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Murloc Shaman got enough stuff. I don't think so though. So actually, you know what? Shaman got some okay stuff. What's scary is they got a buff to evolve Shaman, and that was already like a tier 1 deck. So that could be one of the best decks. It's transferring minions into 2 more, like you can see new minions you didn't see before, and I don't know, that'll make it more fun. And evolve is a fun thing, but then I mean you're basically only going to be switching 1 or 2 cards in that deck. Alright, moving on to Warlock. Maybe I'll do, wait a minute, I did 3 there. I'll do Warlock, and then I'll do, I'll make another cut, and I'll do Warrior and Neutrals in the same set, or in the same video. So it'll be 3 videos, and I'll do like my final thoughts in that video too. Blood Reaver Gul'dan. Battlecry summon all friendly and demons that died this game. Wow, people are really high on this card. It's 10 mana though. And did Warlocks gain enough lifesteal to get to 10 mana? I got this lifesteal card, which is only good in discard block, and even then you might discard it. So that's not good. That's not enough. So they didn't really gain life gain in themselves, just like the neutral cards did. I might have to reevaluate this card after I look at all the neutrals. Morgan. I mean, you could play the Corpse Taker one, but then you, because you don't have stuff like Tyrion or Wicker Flame, you're gonna actually have to put lifesteal stuff in your deck and Taunt and Divine Shield for it to be good. So it's, yeah, I don't know. This is probably too slow. Like, its actual effects are really good. Like, it's one of the more, it might be, it's probably like might even the most powerful effect of all of the Death Knights, but it's gonna be the hardest to get to. Well, maybe easier than a hunter. Yeah, probably the hardest to get to. It's 10 mana. Battle Blood Reaver cooldown. Summon all friendly demons that died this game. So I mean, you want to be putting in a demon deck, which can be good, but the demons they've had lately aren't that great. Hero power, lifesteal, damage 3 damage, which this is insane. This is probably just on its own, not without synergizing with anything. That's like the best, probably the best hero power. It's like the Mind Shatter, the evolved shadow form from Priest. Except it also heals you too. So I mean, that's where, like, if you somehow get to this, then this is actually gonna really, it's gonna stabilize you. Maybe. I don't know, but even then you're only healing for 3 a turn. Yeah, I don't know if there's even enough life gain yet. This might be something that's like not good enough now, but insane in the next expansion. So right now I'd say it's below average rating, unless I'm gonna have to go through all the neutrals and see if there's a way. Like, so this is one I don't even have to play. I could theory craft to see if it's possible to get there. Like, but my thought is, like, for this expansion it's below average, and the next expansion it'll probably end up being good. Blood Queen Lanithel. Oops, I go to this bigger pictures. Has +1 attack for each card you discard this game. So yeah, this one's pretty quick and easy to evaluate. Like 5 mana 1/6. It's pretty harmless until you discard a lot of stuff. And if you discard a lot of stuff, there's a chance that you might discard her, because you don't want to play her when she's really weak, because minions can trade into her and kill her. But if you don't play her, then she's going to get discarded by your discard cards. I mean, she gets buffed when she's not. The only time it's going to be good is if it's not in your hand. And then by the time you draw her, it's like turn 7 or 8, and she's just like massive. She's got like a 7/6 lifesteal, and then it would be good. 5 mana 7/6 lifesteal would be insane, but and it's also, it'll keep gaining after you played it too. But yeah, you're gonna have to commit like at least mostly to the discard mechanic, and that's probably the way they've like tapered it to be like more control. Like, I don't even think the discard really works that well in control, so this is not a good card. Nomaratu, one of the more underrated cards, I feel like. Well, actually, the community likes it. It's like pros hate this card. I think like neither people are evaluating it right for the same for different reasons. This is being evaluated wrong. Like my take, I think I went over it earlier, but so just its stats are okay. Just like a 2-mana 2/3, like that's playable in Zoo. You can play that, and then the battle cry, like where the misevaluation thing is, like pros are saying like, oh, people that don't know what they're talking about think like, oh, you discarded their card, and then you think that matters, and yeah, like so it's people that aren't good thinking that you're just like destroying the card, and then like that impacts the game, and that's their point of like, oh well, you could just look at it as a card you never drew, but yeah, like that's the case for a lot of the decks, but when you're playing this as a meta tech card for the most part anyway, right? And in that case, you want to play it like maybe in a tournament setting, and you play against Freeze Mage. You try to queue into Freeze Mage and any combo deck. What was I saying? Maybe if it hits a Death Knight now, or if the Death Knights revolve around it. Yeah, anything combo oriented or Freeze Mage, like decks where those are decks where you want to draw through your whole deck anyway, and you want to like Freeze Mage, you're trying to draw through most of your deck so you could get all your burn, and like Burn Mage, you're trying to like draw through everything. So like getting rid of a card in one of those decks is a big deal. Oh yeah, like Quest Mage, like combo things where it's like, if I get rid of a Sorcerer's Apprentice, so in that deck there's 2 Sorcerer Apprentice, 2 Molten Reflections, and an Antonidas. That's 5 chances to burn something that will ruin their whole game plan. And like at the best case scenario for them, a Molten Reflection or Sorcerer's Apprentice gets taken away, and instead of like them having infinite damage, they can still kill you, right? But if you have 2 of these, again, like that's a 2 in 5 chance at burning 2 of those, along with if you have the Arthas one, and you get that random card from Arthas that just steals a card from your deck. But then like Freeze Mage, yeah, you take an Ice Block, yeah, they're trying to get through their whole deck, so one, you could steal an Ice Block, and then that makes it so they only have one turn safety net instead of like 2 of those. And then you could also just burn like a Pyroblast, so you're burning a huge amount of damage, or you burn their Antonidas in either of those decks, and then it's just like the Quest Mage, you burn Antonidas, it's over. Like so, like it's not like the burn effect is not nothing. I'm seeing a lot of people like try to say it is. Like it does matter. They're removing a card from your opponent's deck, and I really like that they're finally doing it. They said before how they're afraid to like interfere with opponents' decks because it feels bad. Like that's like one of my favorite things in card games, and like messing with your opponent's like plans and stuff. Like Dirty Rat, I like Dirty Rat. Yeah, I mean like you do. Like imagine this like in like a meta counter, you just like double Numferatu, double Dirty Rat. So you're removing like essentially you're like removing 4 cards from their deck, or like making them play 2 when they don't want to, and removing 2 more. Okay, so moving on. Yeah, so I think this is a good card, and like yeah, and if you are playing it as if you are playing it as just like a tech card, you can still just if you're playing against a deck that where you're like, okay, yeah, it doesn't even matter. It's still a 2/3 for a body for 2. Like that's not terrible. Like you that's an anti-aggro stat line. If it's against control, it's something to do on turn 2. So treachery, 3 mana, choose a friendly minion, you give it to your opponent. This is a mechanic. Another one I've been really hoping they would put in Hearthstone for a long time now. I was hoping they'd put this in Priest. I think it fits better in there. Well, it works in Warlock too, I guess, but I would have liked it more in Priest, but still, like, and I hope Priest gets something like it. But yeah, but this is like the thing, like, there's a lot of, like, bad minions in the game and things you don't want on your side, things that randomly get spawned, things that get devolved. And this gives you a chance to just put that bad stuff onto their side, like, and then it's really hard for them to get rid of. You could, the obvious combo that people are talking about is this and Doomsayer, then it's pretty similar to a Frost Nova Doomsayer effect, except their minions get to attack one more time. Yeah, there's like, you can use it on that new Ticking Abomination and clear their whole side of the board, but then you're giving them so yeah, the Ticking Abomination you could trade into one minion, damage it, and then put it to their side so it's weakened. So that's still pretty good. There's probably some other. There's this one that it combos well with. Halfiend, 3 mana, 3/6 demon. Like, those are okay stats, but whenever this minion takes damage, discard a random card. So you could play this in a discard lock and this, but then you put this in their hand, and then again it's like the similar thing to Nomaratu. I mean, you could just do a heavy, like, I wonder if you could do Mill Warlock. But yeah, like, so you do this on turn 2, turn 3, play that, turn 4, you play this, and then you, like, damage it. Like, maybe you, like, play Defile and you, like, clear a bunch of their board and damage this twice. You burn cards. Yeah, this is probably going to burn at least 2 cards. And again, if you're now burning 2 cards, even in a non 2 or more, when you start burning a bunch of cards, even in a non-combo deck, that starts to impact things. But especially in combo decks and, like, Freeze Mage and stuff, that's going to be a big deal. Like, with all these Death Knights, where a lot of decks, like, their late game is going to revolve around playing their Death Knight. You just throw this on the side of the board and discard their Death Knight. Yeah, really like this mechanic. One of my favorite things they've added to this game. This is one of my favorite cards. Probably in my top 5 favorite cards. We got Defile, 2 mana, deal 1 damage to all minions. If any die, cast this again. So yeah, this is just a really good AoE. At worst, it's a whirlwind. At best, it can kill 3-4, like, do a 3-4 damage AoE basically, and kill a bunch of minions for 2 mana only. And also, it's like synergizes with things like this. Some of the neutral ones. At the end of your turn, deal. So, yeah, this is a very, very good card. This is going to be like a 2 of in every Warlock deck. There's like a 4.5 star rating, I think. Okay, Despicable Dreadlord, 5 mana, 4/5 demon. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. That's just, like, super good everything. I mean, 5 mana, 4/5 is a little. 4/5 is understated for a 5 mana, but it's still, like, a good health and good attack. And to deal 1 damage after every turn, and the fact that it's a demon, like, those are both really good. This is like a 4-star card. Unwilling Sacrifice, 3 mana, choose a friendly minion, destroy it, and a random enemy minion. Not sure about this one. I guess Warlock's card removal. I mean, you got, like, Siphon Soul, you got the Blast Crystal Potion, I think, is probably a little better. You don't want this in a more control-y deck, like one that you're probably gonna have, like this Blood of the Rune. You're gonna want this in like zoo or discard, and then it's okay. It's not great, but it's probably like a one of card. So okay card. Sanguine Reveler, 1 mana, 1/1. Battlecry, destroy for an minion, gain +2/+2. This is really good.
We're all.
What the heck is that? What the heck was that? Oops. Yeah, this is good. Like, it's really good in zoo. It works with, like, you can turn 1 possess villager, and then turn 2 you have a 1 mana 3/3, and you can still play another one of your 1-drops. Or on turn 3 you could play this and the 2-drop. Yeah. You can play in an egg deck too. Eat the eggs. Drain Soul. 2 mana Drain Soul. In the mirror too, you can if they send something bad to your side, like the Abomination, you can kill it with this and then play your stuff. Or like the Doomsayer situation. Yeah, that's probably more common. The Treachery Doomsayer, and then you just play this. Drain Soul. So I'm not sure why they didn't just change Life Drain. They changed some other minion, like they changed Wicker Flame to just have Lifesteal like wording. So this is exactly the same as Drain Life, except for the spell damage synergy with this gives you more life back, as opposed to Drain Life just always gave you a max of 2 life. And Drain Life wasn't good and never saw play. This probably won't either. It's not very good. Yeah, like I said, like Warlock does need lifesteal. If the only thing that might see play is because Warlock will be so desperate for lifesteal just to stay alive to get this going that maybe they'll play it, but other than that, it's not good. And I kind of went over this. Like this is a good card. Yeah. You can put it in discard lock and it's good in there. It'll burn you a lot of cards, get your quest done quick. Or you can like send it to the other side with Treachery and burn their cards. I am wondering, like, I wonder if discard lock has got enough stuff. So they got this. Well, I guess I just got this card. Oh, wait, I thought they got like 2 this discards other people's stuff. Oh well, yeah, Blood Queen. So they got these 2 cards. It's worth trying the quest maybe. I'd say it's still too slow. You add these in. Maybe put this to synergize with the maybe there's enough. They got some anti-aggro. Then there's like between this stuff and the neutral anti-aggro, they might be able to get there. It's not like going to be like a high tier 2 or tier 1 deck, but potential. All right, so I'm going to stop at Warlock for now, and then make a cut here real quick, and just restart it. And then, yeah, I'm going to do Warrior and Neutrals next. And then I'm going to do like a summary. And then after that, I'm going to take a break, come back and do Theory Crafting.